Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside, and this week's weekly nursery tour. We are going to hang out here in the pines today because it just feels so good over here. So we just are going to take advantage of this wonderful shade underneath the pine trees. We have got tons to show you. We are rapidly approaching the end of August. Have no idea where time has gone, but here we are. Totally time to start thinking about your fall containers, fall landscape. If you want to add things in for like long term of your garden, fall is a fantastic time to go ahead and do that. Why do we plant in the fall, especially here in the South? Well, because you put these plants in the cooler temperatures. So when I'm talking about cooler temperatures, it could be anywhere from like mid-September through like the end of November, beginning of December, just depending on the weather. We like to put the perennials, the trees, the shrubs in during this time because it's a lot less stress on the plant. Then they have all winter to have lots of wonderful root growth. Come spring, they wake up from their winter slumber, are very happy, put on tons of new top growth, and they have a really strong root system. That way when the summer heat hits, they can handle it without missing a beat. You as a gardener will like it because essentially you can plant it and forget it. Now, of course, you want to go check on it, but you're not going to have to be out there watering it once a day or, you know, twice a week or even once a week, because our winters typically have those great, you know, rainy days that come through, and so you're not have to out there watering all the time. That is why we love planting in the fall. So we're going to show you some of the fantastic, mostly perennials, and then we've got some shrubs we want to highlight that will make great, even like fall containers, and all sorts of fun things today. So here we are with the Ariella Sun King. Now, if you have been around me for any length of time whatsoever, you know I love this shade perennial. One, because it's gorgeous color. Shade gardens by default obviously can be a little bit darker, and so we need plants that bring color and texture to those darker spaces. So this is a type of spikenard, and it is listed as part shade to shade. It will get 3 feet tall. If you have seen my Sun Kings at the house in the shade garden, you know that 3 feet is quite an understatement. They are every bit of 5 feet tall. Lots of gorgeous, really, that chartreuse foliage. Will it bloom? It's like these little tiny minuscule blooms, so that's not really what it is. It is the color and the size. Mine is like probably 5 feet tall, 3 to 4 feet wide. These are hardy in zones 3 to 9, so very adaptable for lots of different growing conditions. It is, since it is a perennial, once the freeze hits, it will die completely back, and you just cut it to the ground, leave it alone. Come springtime, boop, it pops back up. No pests like it. The Japanese beetles didn't like it. I don't have caterpillars on it. It really is very low maintenance. Great for shade gardens. Huge presence in it. Some other ones that I really want you to encourage you to think ahead. I'm always telling you to shop your garden center at least 4 seasons, right? Come wintertime, for us, it can even, I have some of these blooming in November, so beginning in November-ish through March. Linton Roses, hellebores. These are wonderful shade. There's some that can take a little bit more sun. These are shade perennials. They are deer resistant. They will do blooms. You can see that this has an older bloom on it. They're called Linton Roses because they're not a rose at all, but Linton Roses, they typically will start blooming around the season of Lent. So even when you are in the depths and the throes of winter and you are starving for some color in your garden, Linton Roses come along. They are just those wonderful repeat, just like bloom, 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 bloom for, I would say mine, like I said, mine started in November and will go all the way through the whole winter time. So they really can go for months on end. The only maintenance you do with Linton Roses, is really like right before they start blooming, because their buds will just come shooting out, is you want to come around and trim off the old foliage. The old foliage will kind of start to lay down like this, and you just come in and clean it up while your new growth emerges. That way the blooms really do shine. So we have, this is Pink Frost, which is one of my absolute favorites. Really kind of that beautiful like mauvey rose color. It's gorgeous. So come get some Linton Roses. Plan ahead. Think, okay, in January when I'm starting for color and flowers, there you go. Now, semi-evergreens. These are eucharas, coral bells. I've got two different ones right here for you that I wanted to show you. So the first one is this wonderful silvery gray color. This is the Dolce Silver Gumdrop from Proven Winners. This is considered a part shade to shade perennial. It will be hardy in zones 4 to 9, and eucharas are great because they are short, semi-evergreen, so even in the wintertime they're not going to go completely away. They may not look as lush and as beautiful as this, but they are really nice. The silver gumdrop just has that gorgeous color. It does bloom, but even if it didn't, you have that beautiful color to it. And then when you contrast it, say with the wild berry that's right next to it, so see how you put those together and you mix those together and you've got gorgeous color difference. Wild berry does have a little bit of silver in it, so they complement each other really well. The silver gumdrop has the dark veinings, and so they kind of a little bit in the opposite as far as their colors, but you've got silver and purples on both of them. If you were in the South and you are like me and sometimes you struggle with your eucharas, I have found that they do their absolute best in containers. If you are looking for getting, dumping out your summer annuals and bringing in some fall plants, right, to get that fall vibe going on, and you've got a shade garden, this would be perfect. You could come in here with a couple of different eucharas, whether it's the wild berry, the gumdrop, pick out a really bright hosta or one of the fun grasses, put it in there, and it would be gorgeous. So I'm already starting to think, I'm talking myself into some containers here that I'm going to be planting. So eucharas are great. Just remember, if you're in the South with the clay soil, sometimes they do better in containers as opposed to the landscape. It's just the way it is. You're not doing anything wrong. It is what it is. Also with that, great ferns. Ferns are wonderful for your shade garden. This is the autumn fern. This is Brilliance. Brilliance is all autumn ferns are great, but Brilliance gets its name because its new colors, its new fronds rather, will have that bit of that burgundy copper color to it. So you could pair this autumn fern with those eucharas. It too is going to be a semi-evergreen. So in the wintertime, it will stay. It's not like a lady fern where it will die completely back. These will get some nice height to them. And of course, ferns are very cold hardy in zones 5 to 9. It can get like 2 feet tall. So over time, it will get a nice habit to it, just like the Linton Roses in late winter going into spring, right when it starts emerging all of this new growth. You're just gonna clean it up and that's it. Easy peasy. Ferns are they're just the way to go for sure, absolutely. Oh, over here. Jerry and I were talking beforehand, we started filming. I was like, okay, what are we gonna talk about? And I forgot about these shrubs. Florida Sunshines. Florida Sunshines are a type of anise. So they have that when you crush their leaves or when they bloom, they're little tiny white flowers. They have a licorice smell to them. There's a couple of tons of new growth on this. So all the bright green on the top, that is all new growth. Wonderful evergreen shrub for the shade. Just like the Sun King, this will bring lots of color to your shade garden. Really nice. And then if you pair it with something dark like this Mahonia, then you have a totally different color contrast, a texture contrast. Really nice. This one is, always going to back up. This is Soft Caress, and Soft Caress will basically be like a 3x3. All of these are evergreen because sometimes in a shade garden with your hostas and your ferns and your brunnera, your hydrangeas. Those are all deciduous, right? And you need some structure in your garden year round. This will absolutely do it for you. Continuing on with the shrubs for the shade, Edgeworthy. If you will remember, I planted 3 of them here at the nursery, just behind the old refrigerator that I use as a planter. My mom, when we did her garden tour just a couple of weeks ago, she's got 3 in her yard. Edgeworthy are wonderful. They are deciduous, part shade to shade shrubs. They will get nice and big. They can get somewhere in that like 5-ish foot range. But what makes Edgeworthy so much fun, well, one of the things is that in late winter, coming into spring, before their leaves emerge, they will do these clusters of these kind of like a trumpet shaped bloom on it that smell divine. They have the most lovely fragrance to them, very kind of that jasmine honeysuckle scent to them. Wonderful. And then Edgeworthy, I believe, I'm not wrong, they will have great fall color. So when the cooler temperatures hit, all of these nice big huge leaves on them will get a nice fall color to them. We've also got some great grasses. Grasses are, I just love grasses. If you've been around me, you know that I love using grasses in the landscape. So I've got 2 that are for the shade. This is Everillo. I know I keep harping on this right now because of the color, but these colors in your shade garden just make such a difference. So Everillo is hardy in zones 5 to 9. It can handle 4 to 6 hours of sun, really no more than that. It will get 10 to 12 inches tall and about 2 feet wide. This is perfect to pair with the eucharis. Imagine this with the wildberry and the silver gumdrop, and then this and a fern. Oh my gosh, it'd be gorgeous, gorgeous. So you can have this, and it is an evergreen as well. So you can plant those containers and you've got that color and that texture even in the winter. So Everillo is a great one, and then we have Feather Falls. I do love Feather Falls because it has a lot of the same habit as the Everillo, but look at that. And it's called Feather Falls because it will just weep so much. I'll try to find the picture. When we were at Walter's Gardens a couple of weeks ago, they had Feather Falls in a container and it was spectacular. It just blew my mind how huge and gorgeous that thing was. This is one of Kata's favorite plants. Kata is our representative from Walter's Gardens who takes such great care of us. She was the one that said, Jenny, you need to get this plant, and rightly so. So that was another win for Kata. Feather Falls, hardy in zones 5 to 9. Very similar to the Everillo, but just the different color. So you can put this in the landscape. You can put this in containers. Very, very, very versatile for sure. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to flip around here, and I've got some sun-loving shrubs that Jerry grabbed for us on our way over here, so that way we didn't have to go stand in the hot sun of the shrub lot. And these are some just that we had picked up just off the top of our head. Jerry really wanted to show you these because these are great to incorporate into fall containers. They are going to be shrubs, obviously, but you can mix them with a lot of different things. So here we have a whole little collection, just 3 of them, of these great shrubs. Now, one, it's called candy corn. Candy corn spirea. If that's not fall, I don't know what is. So candy corn spirea, gorgeous chartreuse green leaves. Those are your older leaves. Your new leaves, the new ones are more of that red, and then they'll mature to an orange, and then they go to the chartreuse. Really nice spireas, low maintenance, really great performers in our garden. You want to trim them up a little bit in the late winter. But this would be gorgeous. Imagine if you just took this plant and you put it in a container like this, right? And you did a collection of shrubs in containers. So you could have candy corn in that jardiniere. Then we have the loropetalum. Loropetalum's wonderful evergreen shrub that has nice green, burgundy. You can see all the new growth on it. Is that really kind of that purple color? Very nice. It's also called a Chinese fringe flower because in the late winter, oh, there's one right there. I'll show it to you once Jerry finishes. This one's a little confused. Let me spin around here right quick. It's called a Chinese fringe flower because that is its bloom. Typically, it will do it in late winter going into spring, and the whole plant will be covered in it. Super nice, massive color on it. I'm trying to find my tag. So this is the Jazz Hands Bold, and the size on this guy will be 5 to 6 feet tall and wide. So if you're going to leave it in a container long term, you're going to want to go to a big container so that it can have lots of room. Obviously, all of this will do very, very well in the landscape. The reason I'm saying if you want to do it in a container, just had a customer last weekend whose son works at a school, and they have big containers like this that they move around the school to help direct traffic. So when they're doing their traffic patterns, and she wanted an evergreen that would be of a good size, low maintenance, very easy. That's one of those that I suggested to her. So imagine, because their containers are really big, so imagine this beautiful evergreen loropetalum right there. It would be gorgeous. This is great for people maybe on patios or something that you don't have, like a patio home, and you don't want to have a lot of plants in your landscape. Put them in containers. These are hardy in zones 7B to 9, so they're definitely a southern shrub. And then of course we can't forget our sprinter boxwood. Sprinter boxwoods are one of our favorite evergreen shrubs because they are so low maintenance. They are just really easy to take care of. We prune them once a year. I have these in the back patio area, and they do really well for us here in North Carolina. They will go anywhere. You can keep them really whatever size that you want. This is more of one that is a baby size. They will get 2 to 4. Thank you. Jerry can remember some of these specs a little better than I can. 2 to 4 feet tall. Truly, you can keep it whatever size that you want. So don't think, oh my gosh, it's going to get 4 feet tall. Well, not if you keep it at 2 feet tall. Just keep pruning it a little bit. You just have to pinch it. It's really easy. And they're fast growers, but they're not like crazy fast growers. So even mine that I've had in the back patio for, well, this has been its second summer. They are not anywhere close to being 4 feet tall because I keep them pruned. I want them, they're wider, but this is great in containers. You put some pansies and violas if you wanted to, with some cabbage and kale in there. This gives you some height, some evergreen structure in the wintertime. Really, really nice. Clearly they do great in the landscape as well. So those are the plants. Now let's have some more fun and talk about unique stone. When you come to the nursery, just look at the pieces and make everything is marked. So just make sure that it doesn't have like a sold to Bob. Like this is Bob's right here. This Savannah urn is Bob's. So you can't have the Savannah urn, but you can have this gorgeous pavilion urn. And the pavilion urn would be a perfect place to do big stuff, right? You can put shrubs in here with your annuals and your perennials. Definitely a huge statement piece. And I do love the jumbo jardinieres because they are so simple and classic in their design, and you can pair them really, really well together. It just makes an easy way to put a collection of plants together. And I would put, when I'm doing this, really put 1 plant per pot. So like if you're putting the sprinter in one, the candy corn in one, and the loropetalum in one. When you do that and you use them as a collection like this, it looks like a mixed container, but you're able to control the environment. So let's just say, for instance, I'm just hypothesizing here for a minute. Let's say the loropetalum likes tons and tons of water, and the candy corn likes like really dry. When you have them in separate pots, you can keep it that way. If they were all in the same pot and they had different water conditions, then it would be really hard to plant them in one container. But having them separate but collected together makes a great statement piece. This is the tornado urn. This is the one that I got, or one like this, not this exact one, got for my mama for her Mother's Day present. She just had Mother's Day in August, and I had gotten her a David Alston rose. We planted it in that because I wanted her to be able to plant that rose in there and leave it for years and years, because we've got nice room in here, lots of soil with one rose, and it is doing fantastic. So this tornado urn is also that same way, where you can put a shrub in here, or you could put a whole collection of shade perennials or sun or ant. It doesn't matter. Just know you can put a lot of plants in here for sure. We've got plenty of the Charleston basket boys. I know a lot of people are interested in that. That is why we have so many of them, because they are just perfect. They fit in little small spaces. They're easy to pick up and move around. I mean, they're still heavy, but you can easily move them around. So we've got the basket boys available for you for sure. Let's see what else I think we talked about all of these. The relief urn is really fun because it just has a little bit to it, but it's not too over the top. Here we have two of the Norwich planters in aged stone, and I really like that Norwich planter in the aged stone. It's a beautiful, like fluted, I guess that would be, because it's narrow at the bottom and then it comes out wide at the top. Great trough. This is that same size. If you remember when I planted the summer annuals that had the fall color, and I put it in underneath the forest pansy in that bed. So this is that same size, it's just in a different color. Really easy to plant because you can fit a good number of plants in there. I always think when I'm looking at a container, how much soil will this hold? And then the amount of soil that it holds will tell me how many plants I can put in there. So obviously I'm gonna put less plants in here than I am in this one. I just tend to think more long-term because our growing season is so long and demanding. I always want to go the biggest container that your space will allow. That's what I tell people, because you want lots and lots of soil to help feed those plants and keep the water going all season long. So we've got those, and then this is a really fun, we have the egg urn. Somebody told me it's not because it has eggs, it does look like it has eggs on it, but it's the type of style, the art that it is. So there you go, you always learn something new. We've got two of the Augustus urns. These would be great, like if you had something that you wanted to, either a small space to put it beside, or like I do, like when you're going down your steps, put it on like a little cap. I use my Western urns for those, but these are the Augustus urns. It's just a little bit of a different look to it. And so lots of options. And then the short reeded urn. This is very similar to this guy, but it has a square bottom and still that fluted, but it has a lip on it. So the short reeded urn as well. Very nice. So we have lots of options for you. So you can come shop these. We do not ship unique stone because it is just, we just don't. But if you are interested in placing a custom order, like I say, if you want a Charleston basket boy in sienna red, I don't have one of those. So you can place a custom order with us for our spring delivery. That is our next arrival of unique stone, will be in spring of 2023. So if you are interested in placing that custom order, you can email us at the email that you see on the screen, orders@gardeningwithcreekside.com. Now, because of just logistics and keeping everybody straight, the only way that I am going to place orders is if you contact me through that email. So please don't send me a message on Facebook or Instagram. Now you can ask if I have something, and that's fine. But when you want to have correspond about a custom order, email us at orders@gardeningwithcreekside.com. We will tell you a price quote. We will get you written down. You will tell us exactly what you want, and then we can send you an email with an invoice. You can pay it online, and then once they arrive, you can come pick up your items. I do have a short window when I can accept orders for this spring arrival, so you need to act with purpose and don't dilly-dally too much. So send that to me. So I have about, I would say about 2 to 3 weeks that I have a window where you can place your custom orders. We are happy to quote anything in unique stone for you. So if you want a fountain, you want a pedestal, those things that I don't typically carry, or you know that you really want a sassy frog in a certain color, it doesn't matter if it's the tiniest thing of unique stone or if it's the biggest. If you want a custom order, then you need to contact us at orders@gardeningwithcreekside.com. And I will remind you, but there you go. A couple of more perennials that I wanted to show you. Here we have two different eucheras that are those chartreuse greens. The one on closest to Jer is Lemon Love. Lemon Love is one of my absolute favorites. It has performed, without a doubt, the best in our gardens for years and years. It is part of that Velocia species. It is just a wonderful performer. It does have a little bit smaller leaves because if you look here, this is brand new. So this is Ball Gown from Proven Winners. This is part of their Dressed Up series. It still has that great gorgeous color, but let me just show you a little bit of the difference of the leaf size. So you can see the difference of the leaf size on these two. The Ball Gown so far has performed great. I do know that I have years and years experience with Lemon Love, so what I would recommend, get both. That way you can really see how they do. But so far I have Ball Gown directly in the ground over there by the bridge, and it is doing really well. The Dressed Up series is new in the last couple of years from Walter's Gardens and Proven Winners, and they really have performed really, really nicely. The other one with the Dressed Up series is Evening Gown, and you've heard me talk about Evening Gown. These are just a little bit smaller. It's just when they came in, so they just haven't had quite the growing time. So it is the equivalent as far as the color to Black Pearl. Again, bigger leaves than Black Pearl, really nice dark foliage on it. I know on the tag it says sun to shade, but in the south, definitely more shade. It could do a little bit of morning sun, but eucheras as a whole in the south are primarily shade. A little bit of morning sun and then afternoon shade for sure. And then look at these beauties, the spot-ons. Spot-on Pulmonaria. Last year, we could not keep these in stock. They were just flying out of here like crazy, and rightly so. So Pulmonaria is a wonderful shade-loving perennial, gorgeous spotted leaves, hence its name, that will do really fun flowers in the springtime. So they change, and I always get it wrong. I think it's from pink to blue, or blue to pink.
Pink and blue. It's not spot on.
This is not spot on? Oh my goodness. Y'all, this is Pinkaboo. See, this is why Jenny needs to look at the tags. So Pinkaboo is the brand new one. I am so sorry. So Pinkaboo, yes, still a Pulmonaria, still the same great characteristics, but compared to the spot on, it has more intense colors to it. They go from pink to blue, yep, and lots of great color to it. So I have some samples that they sent me. I think these may be bigger than my samples right now, but really gorgeous. They have love life. You can see where we have them here in the pines. It's just dappled sunlight, and they do great. They are an evergreen, so even in the wintertime, they will not disappear. So with all that said, we have got tons of unique stone for you. We've got tons of perennials and shrubs. Lots of things going on. If you want that custom order from Unique Stone, send us an email. We look forward to hearing from you. As always, y'all have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.